Welcome into the In the Money podcast for Saturday, September 21st. Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman, Keeneland's Director of Wagering Development. And we're heading to Parx up in Philadelphia for our Keeneland Select In the Money podcast. And that's Pennsylvania Derby Day, one of the two Grade 1s. The race lost a little luster with maximum security coming out. So we're going to start with the All-Stakes Pick 4, which begins in race 8. We'll just take you through the 4 stakes races and then give you our Pick 4 tickets. So, Jim, lead us off. Parx Dirt Mile, and this is at a mile, obviously, but it is around 2 turns at Parx, not a 1-turn mile. So tell me how you see this one.
Well, Cold Front is even money favorite on the morning line, but I'm not sure Cold Front is the same horse as he went to Godolphin Mile in Dubai and won there, which completed a nice 3-race win streak and won him about $800,000. He's come back now and running the Met Mile. Finished way back to Mitole, and then the Monmouth Cup, he tried him at 1.1 miles, and he didn't like any part of that. So he's back to his best distance now. I think he's going to be a contender, but I certainly couldn't single him in there. I'm going to use him along with Monongahela for Jason Service. Had a bad run in the Whitney, but probably in a little bit over his head there. And in the Iceland back at Monmouth in June, you got a 102 buyer, very consistent horse, and I think he's got a shot here. I'm also going to throw in bonus points for Michael Trombetta and Joel Rosario. The horses got a bunch of 90 buyers and 6 for 27 lifetime, and 8-1 on Rosario is a bargain, I think. So Cold Front's going to be the big favorite, but I'm going to use 3. We'll get to pick 4, and might use Monongahela as my win pick if we get 3-1 or 7-2 on it.
Yeah, that's actually where I'm going. I thought Cold Front was vulnerable in here. Monongahela, that race back in June, was a 102 buyer, I think 2 starts back. And this one's relatively new in the Jason Service barn, so may have a little improvement still left. Diamond King's the other one I like a little bit, mainly just because he's won twice at this track, which can be a little quirky. I would urge folks to watch the earlier races. Sometimes it seems like frequently, actually, the best place to be is out away from the rail, out in the outside part of the track. But sometimes it'll go the other way on you. So pay attention to how the earlier races are going up there, and it could impact your handicapping. But Monongahela for me. 9th race, the Grade 2 Gallant Bob, 6-furlong race. This is often a race that has had some impact on the Breeders' Cup Sprint over the years. I looked for a little bit of a price here with Trophy Chaser. Big buyer improvement off the layoff, and I think there's a lot of speed in here. This one could sit just off of it, and they ran him in the Champagne as a 2-year-old, so they obviously had a high opinion of the horse. Didn't run great there, but that comeback effort last time kind of caught my eye, so I'm going to take that one, a slight nod over the 2 Californian invaders, King Jack and Landeskog. And then Bulletin I thought was intriguing too, because this horse debuted on the turf and then came in and won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, and so they've kept him sprinting on the turf. But if you look at his pedigree, there's no reason to think this horse shouldn't be just fine on the dirt, and who knows, might even be better on the dirt. So I'll give him that chance anyway to do that and throw him into the pick 4 when we get there. But Trophy Chaser is my win pick in the Gallant Bob. How about you?
I went with Landeskog. I learned last week Doug O'Neill ships in for a reason, and he shipped in 3 horses at Churchill, and he finished 1-2 in one race and won the other one. So I think Landeskog fits well off that tightener at Del Mar. Ran into Woody Stevens back in June and went off his long shot and didn't really compete with the better ones of his generation, but I think he fits here, and I have a lot of respect for Doug O'Neill when he ships to East. Also have a lot of respect for the Hollendorfer barn when he ships East, so King Jack will also be included in mine. And I'll use Bulletin as well. I don't usually like a horse that has never run on the dirt before, but out of City Zip, he's got plenty of early pace, so he's going to be up on the lead, and drawn outside the other California horses probably helps him. Trophy Chaser would be my 4th choice if I went that far deep in the pick 4, but I didn't go that far, so I'm going to stick with those 3.
Takes us to the Grade 1 Cotillion for 3-year-old fillies. Now, the boys race, they'll go a mile and an eighth. In the cotillion, they go a mile and a 16th. And I thought this was a really nicely matched group here. Where did you land in the cotillion?
I think this is the best betting race of the sequence, especially with the big horse out of the Pennsylvania Derby. I went with Guarana is the logical choice here. Those races at Keeneland, Belmont, and Saratoga were all good, and so she's taken her race with her from the day she broke her maiden on a Keeneland sloppy track back in April to the Acorn, double Grade 1 winner, winning CCA Oaks at Saratoga. So it's maybe foolish to play against her, but different track, and like, as you said in the introduction, Parx can be a difficult track to run, and if this horse gets stuck on the inside, I can see somebody running her down. Serengeti Empress might be that horse if she can learn to rate, and she's not done a very good job of rating. If she gets the lead, she's gone on with it. She only got beat a half length by Cafefe in the test, but Guarana handled her pretty easily in the Acorn at a mile. So a mile and 16th might be a little bit different. I think I give her a shot. I also give Bellafina another shot. She doesn't run that well out of California. I'm going to put her in here just because I hate to let her beat me. I didn't like her in the test at all. Didn't like her in the Kentucky Oaks, but that it scares me a little bit that they keep running her in these big races. Jaywalk is an obvious contender from the outside for Rosario. I'm going to throw in Geltrin, 1-for-1 at Parx, and had a perfect, really easy prep race for this back on September 2nd. So I'm going to think she jumps up a little bit on the Parx track, and having a race over the track helps her a lot. So I'm going to go deep in the pick 4 here. If I had to make a win bet, I'd probably take Serengeti Empress as a price. I'm not going to take Guarana at. She's not going to be 9-5. It's going to be more like even money, 6-5. So I think it's a good betting race.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going deep when we get to the pick 4. But my win pick in here is going to be Jaywalk. I like the fact that she's 1-for-1 at Parx, and knowing the kind of horses that we're going to point for this spot, I'm guessing they wouldn't put her in this spot. They could pick a softer spot unless they thought she was back to her old self. Which it looked like she was 2 starts ago. Kind of maybe she bounced off that. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt in the last time out. And I like, you mentioned Rosario. I like the fact that he's coming back to ride her. He was riding her when she was really good last fall, and the fact that he shows back up riding her, to me, is a vote of confidence. Third start off the layoff is usually a good angle too. So I think Jaywalk 6-1 on the morning line with Guarana and Serengeti Empress in there. I think you might get every bit of that price. And if she's anywhere close to what she was last fall, then she can win this. So I'm going to take that price and take a hunch that she is. Guarana, Serengeti Empress, Street Band. I liked her race last time. Numbers are a little light, but I have a great respect for Larry Jones. And then Geltrin, just with a win over the track, I think is a good angle too. So I'm going to use all of those in the pick 4, but I'm going to key everything around Jaywalk within the race. The 11th is the Pennsylvania Derby. Lost a lot of luster when Maximum Security had to come out with an illness. They go a mile and an eighth, as I mentioned here. Improbable, very impressive in the comeback race for Baffert. 104 buyer in the first race since mid-May. Sharp works off that, and it's Baffert shipping across country. He's usually comes loaded for bear. So I'm going with Improbable. Mr. Money, I think certainly would be the one I would take if I pick somebody to try to beat the favorite. Improbable, I think I might have gotten a nicer price. Well, I know I would have gotten a nicer price if Maximum Security had stayed in. And then War of Will, you could consider including just that Preakness form shows up. He's got a shot, but I'm just not quite sure if he's kept pace with the rest of his 3-year-old rivals. So Improbable for me in the Pennsylvania Derby. How about you?
I like Improbable, but I like Mr. Money just a little bit better. Mr. Money's won 4 straight, and if you've listened to Brett Calhoun, he is so impressed with this horse and is just convinced that he is right on top of his game and is gonna run big. It's a step up, obviously, from the Indiana Derby and the West Virginia Derby, but he's won so easily. He won the Matt Winn back at Churchill, and he won the Pat Day Mile on Derby Day. Our friend Ellis Starr said something to the effect of, this is when maximum security was still in. He said, if Mr. Money's 4-1, I'm going to take all the money out underneath my mattress and bet on Mr. Money. And he's backed off now. He's only going to take about half of it, but he thinks Mr. Money's a good win bet, and I do too. Improbable has the shipping across country. Never has been on Parx. Turf, a lot of things. I love Baffert shipping out, obviously. And those are the two horses that I'd use. And my best bet of the day is a 2-6 exacta box, and take whichever one you want better on top a little bit more. But I'd take Mr. Money on top, but I'd back it up with a 2-6 improbable. I'm gonna throw War of Will in there just because I don't want to exclude the Preakness winner out of Pennsylvania Derby. But he's certainly not what he was back in the early part of the Triple Crown chase, and maybe the little rest to give him a second wind. But he's good enough to win it if he's on top of his game. But I'm going to take Mr. Money here.
Let's get to the pick 4, and it's an all-stakes pick 4 starting in the 8th race. I'm going to use 3 in the first leg, 4, 6, and 8, Monongahela, Cold Front, Diamond King. Going 4 deep in the Gallant Bob, 3, 6, 7, 9, with Trophy Chaser, the 2 Californians, and Bulletin. In the Cotillion, I like Jayhawk, but I'm going to use the others that I mentioned. So 1, 3, 4, 8, and 11, going 5 deep there, hoping Jaywalk can get it somewhere around 6-1. And then I'm going to single Improbable. Now, my suggestion, if you're like me and you're going to go all in on Improbable, this ticket's only $30 for 50 cents. So you could make it a $1 ticket and go a little heavier, or you could take it to $60 on a 50-cent ticket and add Mr. Money. So play that as you choose, but I'm going to just go with the singling of Improbable for a $30 ticket on 50 cents. How about you, Jim?
I'm going to go a little bit deeper here and spend $67.50. The Park Start Mile, I'm going to use the 3 horses we talked about, Monongahela, Cold Front, and bonus points 3, 4, 6. Then I'm going to use 6, 7, 9 in the second leg with Landeskog, King Jack, and Bulletin. In the Cotillion, I'm going to go 5 deep with 1, 4, 8, 10, 11. It's Serendipity, Ypres, Geltrin, Garana, Bellafina, and Jaywalk. And then I'm going to go 3 deep in the last one with my top pick, Mr. Money, the 6. But I'm also going to use 2 Improbable and 4 War of Will, so 2, 4, 6. So that makes my pick 4, 3, 4, 6 with 6, 7, 9. With 1, 4, 8, 10, 11, with 2, 4, 6, and that's $67.50.
Enjoy your Saturday playing the races at Parx or Churchill or wherever you are playing around the country. And it's a college football weekend. You'll be watching the games, so keep your Keeneland Select accounts funded so you can take advantage of the opportunity if you can't get out to the track or to simulcasting this weekend. Next week, big weekend up at Naira and at Churchill. We'll be talking about that on the next edition of the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com.